So my sex life is very, very healthy. Actually, my friends are like, Michelle, you're embarrassing. Don't even tell us. As you're getting older, if you're not on the same path as that person, not on the same wavelength as that person, it doesn't matter how turned on you are, or if you don't want to be with that person. And especially for women, that's an important side of it. And I didn't understand why I was having this heavy bleeding and everything else. And I went to my doctor, and I lived in Devon at the time, and I walked in there and my doctor said to me, I said, look, I'm bleeding and weeing a lot.
Our podcast would not be possible without our wonderful sponsors, Absolute Collagen. It's a simple daily supplement that stimulates your body's natural collagen production, improving skin from within, and their clinical trials speak for themselves. So if you're curious, try the Absolute Collagen commitment and see what it does for you. Hello and welcome to Second Act, the podcast and community for women in midlife who refuse to fade into the background. I'm your host, Ateh Jewel, and I'll be speaking to celebrity guests about the moment they knew they were in their second act and how they're changing the game in the next one. Our guest for this week's episode is Olympian Michelle Griffith-Robinson, who represented Great Britain for 20 years as a triple jumper. She was the first woman to jump over 14 metres in the Commonwealth Games and seamlessly has transitioned her athletic prowess into a thriving career as a personal trainer, mentor, and life coach, empowering others to reach their full potential. Off the track, Michelle is a wife and mother of 3. She also works as an ambassador for Diabetes UK and has been open about her menopause journey, so I'm really excited to talk to her. She's also one of my really good friends, Michelle Griffith-Robinson. Welcome to Second Act. I'm so excited to see you.
Not as excited as I am to see you, babes.
Oh my goodness. Michelle, we are mates. You are phenomenal. You inspire me on the daily. Can you summarize your first act in 3 words?
My first act in 3 words. Now, this is really difficult. I've always been told I talk too much. So my first act in 3 words. Yeah. Finding my joy.
And you know what? You're just like, let me just put it into a phrase. Finding my joy. Mm-hmm. That is beautiful. Can you expand on that? So,
yeah, I can expand on that. I think it's when you get to my age, I'm now 53 years old, 54 in October.
You're just thriving.
And I am thriving. I'm not just surviving, I'm thriving. And I feel that. And I made a decision when I turned 50 that I wasn't no longer going to be, putting up with stuff that I didn't need to.
Yeah.
So placing my energy where it was welcomed and wanted. And finding my joy.
Yeah.
Finding my joy in life, doing things that make me happy, that are purposeful, being intentional as a life coach, trying to be really intentional, and at the same time recognizing what matters to me and my family, my 3 children and my husband, and keeping a very close eye on my mama.
Yeah. So that is beautiful. So finding your joy is a first act, but actually you're carrying that into your second.
It's continuation.
Ooh.
So finding my joy part 2.
I love that. It's like a stick of rock and it just goes all the way through the core.
Right through, because it's the core values of what have I always wanted to do. I did athletics. I wanted to compete at the highest level. I did that. I found my joy. And don't get me wrong, I've had some really difficult, dark patches as well. And the thing about when you talk to people, you can't always portray that everything's been rosy.
No.
It hasn't been. I was in 2 abusive relationships, which I don't really speak about them in depth, but I was. And because of that, it's allowed me to really look into myself, do a deep dive into what's caused this, why am I like that, going in therapy for 2.5 years, being in a very happy marriage with Matt as well.
Who's so hot.
Very hot. Don't even Google my husband.
I always say, how's your hot husband?
My hot husband is still hotter than ever. He's
and
good.
In love after 23 years, which is wonderful.
23 years being together, 20 years, celebrating 20 years in September. But like I said, that's why I'm carrying on continuing finding my joy.
Yeah.
Because I think you grow even more in this second act because you know who you are.
Yeah, I love that. And if you were to go back and give yourself a report card for your first act, what would it say?
It would say 5 out of 10.
5 out of 10?
Yeah, 5 out of 10.
And a perfectionist?
Yeah, because that's one part of your life.
Oh.
So if you talked about one part of your life where it said, and you put them in categories,
yeah.
So for, doing your very best and everything else, I'd say 10 out of 10.
Yes.
Making really bad choices, I'd say 5 out of 10.
Yeah.
So that's why I say 5 out of 10, because my athletics, yes, it was brilliant. It's a platform that's given me an opportunity to speak to people, go and present to people, help many people. But I would say 5 out of 10 in terms of making choices. But my mum has got an amazing saying as a Jamaican mother. My mother says, nothing happens before it's time.
Oh, I love that. And it's a sign of faith as well.
Absolutely. Sign of faith, perseverance.
Yeah.
And, holding strong. Things will happen when they're meant to happen.
And just hold on.
Hold on.
So yeah, that's the 5 out of 10 shocked me. I'm not going to lie, but
yeah,
it's the imbalance of kind of amazing professional Olympian,
absolutely
striving. You're one of the strongest, kindest, most compassionate women I know, but turning that compassion onto yourself.
Absolutely, you have to own your. I'm going to call it failings, but I'm glad I had these failings.
Learnings, I tell the children.
Failings,
learnings,
takeaways, golden takeaways.
Yeah.
Fluff it up how you wish.
Yeah,
I'm still giving it 5 out of 10.
Yes, I love that.
But that's going to change, and that has changed.
And what does the term second act mean to you? What is second act?
Second act means basically I'm coming on bigger, brighter, shining even more. So much more wisdom behind me. A lot more confidence than I had. It's really nice to sit here with another woman, another black woman, and be really honest and vulnerable about these things.
Exactly.
Because a lot of us try and hide these things and put on this facade that actually isn't real.
Yeah.
So, but fast forwarding, when I got to 30, I changed that. And I think that's why my second act, and now 53, my act is looking, I should win Oscars, babe. I'm brilliant.
And you will. You mentioned 30. What is the moment that you knew you were in your second act?
I think the moment I knew I was in my second act really was after I had my third child.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, my third child. I had Elijah when I was 41, 356 days old.
I love the fact you know to the day.
Absolutely. I wasn't 42, I was just shy of 42. And I wanted this
3/4.
No, 356. Be precise.
Yes.
I failed maths 5 times just to see, got a D 5 times. Got to be precise at something. And I had my child and I looked around and I said, you know what, I'm so content. And then obviously fast forward from there 6 years later, I realised that hormonally I was changing and I needed to do something about it. And I did. I explored. I went and seeked out who I could seek to support me. I didn't know what the hell was going on with me.
Yeah.
And I think from about 50, my second act started and I'm boom, boom, boom. Nothing holding me back,
Yeah. You're just like, you're getting started.
Just getting started.
Oh, my goodness.
I've done my warm-up. I've done my drills. This is for anybody that's listening that knows about track and field or sport. You do your warm-up, you do your drills, you get ready to perform, you're on the run-up. You hear everyone clapping, you're jumping into the pit, you land in the pit. It's a British record, it's a world record. That's where I'm at now. I am ready.
Oh my God, I can picture it. I'm just imagining. And in my head, I'm listening to the crowds. It's amazing. You have got your Olympian spirit has helped you so much, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. Having an Olympic mindset.
Yeah. Tell me about, when I speak to Dame Denise Lewis.
Yeah. Gorgeous D.
And I speak to you, I see it. It comes in your eyes. There's a twinkle and there's a switch. How do you push that switch?
I think that you...
what is it?
I think you push the switch by recognising what you've done, what you've achieved. Yeah. And you also realise that you will hit rock bottom at some point in your life, but you also know what it's like to come back up again. Oh. And you can use that analogy when you've been injured, when you've been not chosen for a team, when your sponsorship gets cut. You know how to build yourself back up again.
I tell my girls it's a bounce back.
It's got to be a bounce back. And it's something important, really important for us as parents to share with our children as well. When you don't succeed to what you'd want, your expectations, how do you deal with that now that's happened? So we're all going to have failings, but what's next? Are you going to sit and wallow, or are you going to make a strategy to get back up again?
Oh, strategy. I love that.
I've got 3 incredible children,
who are all smashing it, may I add.
And I tell you what, it's not out of them having, two sporty parents and da-da-da-da. It's us saying, listen, this is your journey. Take ownership.
Yeah.
Where's your responsibility in your journey?
Yeah.
Because we can give you the talent. We can give you the tools. Mm-hmm. We can even give you the financial assistance. But if you don't have that get up and go, that fire in your belly to achieve what you want to do, don't waste my time.
I love the Michelle Griffith-Robinson School of Parenting. I am that as well. I think it does come from Caribbean background as well.
Definitely comes from it comes from a Caribbean background. It comes from us seeing, my mother came over here in 1960s, as a teacher and then turned to a nurse and being told to get off the bus because she's a black woman.
Yeah.
You've got too much money, get off. And waiting after a night shift. She hasn't come over here for me to repeat the same cycle of where she's come from.
Yeah.
I should be better than my mother. My children should be better than me.
That's how it should
And
go.
the chain should continue.
Yeah, I love that. So we've talked about your Olympic mindset and creating strategies, which I see you've done in all parts of your life. You've been very open about talking about menopause, perimenopause. What was the strategy? You knew something was wrong with, you knew you weren't feeling right, something was up. Yeah. What was the strategy you employed? And you've been very, very open about talking about your experiences.
Yeah, so a great question there. I think my strategy kind of, if I'm being honest with this one, I was winging it because I was bleeding a lot, and I didn't understand why I was having this heavy bleeding and everything else. And I went to my doctor, and I lived in Devon at the time, and I walked in there and my doctor said to me, I said, look, I'm bleeding and weeing a lot. And he said, well, you're not diabetic anyway. And he said, because look at you. And that's the thing again, which, why I'm an ambassador for Diabetes UK.
Me too.
Because because it was changing the narrative of, yes, I'm fit. I looked really slim. I was in Lycra. I looked toned.
Yeah.
But I was pre-diabetic. And also that's when I first realised that I had really bad menopausal symptoms that I wasn't tackling.
Yeah.
So how I went about it was going out to explore. And I say to every woman out there, fill up your toolbox with as much information as you can.
Yeah.
And that way you could then choose to erase, add in, don't bother, supplement. But if you don't have that information, you ain't going to know.
Educate yourself. We are Generation X. We're of that generation where I'll do I have my best friends, one of my best friends, her mum's Persian, and they're like, doctor is God. Doctor is God. You know what I mean? And like, if the doctor says it's okay, it's okay.
I mean,
and it's that thing. And my mum, we all had whatever the doctor says, it's God.
It's God.
And
they do say that.
And God bless the NHS. And I will always fight for the NHS. And we are so blessed. But there is so much medical misogyny, medical misogynoir, which is another. That's another episode.
That's an episode. But part 6, 7, and 8.
What you're saying is educate yourself and take that to the GP.
And take that to the GP. So take all your information to the GP. You have 10 minutes in the surgery. They are busy. They are snowed under.
Yeah.
Yeah. And almost have your journal of your symptoms, your symptom tracker, how you're feeling. Take ownership of your journey. Be your own health advocate. And that's what I did. I started to advocate for myself and I was relentless because that is the Olympic mindset. Keep knocking on the door. You're not getting the answers you want. I would like some blood tests. Okay, they're not conclusive. Okay, you go and find your friends around you, Dr. Naomi Potter, Dr. Juliet Balfour, all these doctors, Dr. Nagat, are there to support you. Dr. Zoe Williams, Menopause Mandate, where we met. Go and find these women around you. Lisa Snowden, share real life experiences as well. Because if you share, you can start saying, oh, actually, it's a pattern. But also remembering that we are all individual.
Yes.
One size doesn't fit all. But so do your exploration because it matters.
And, we touched on medical misogynoir. How have you experienced that? And, we know for Black and Asian women, there can be challenges. Would you expand on that a little bit more?
I would say from me personally, I'm very glad I personally haven't received that. However, I do know it's out there. I do know that, when we talk about maternal health as well.
Oh, I had to kick off. I almost died but if I hadn't kicked off.
You would have died. You wouldn't be here interviewing me now, Ateh.
Literally. I kicked off in my pre-screening and a nurse told me afterwards, because you kicked off, they could see that you were, I'm like, I will go to the Daily Mail. I'm not the one to be messed with. They upgraded my team and I still had a horror show.
And that goes to show you what happens to the woman. And I always say, what happens to the woman that's based in Middlesbrough from a council estate, a white woman who doesn't have that knowledge and education, she equally has to be represented too.
Everybody.
So when I talk about representation, I am talking about this is not just a middle class white women's challenge.
Yeah.
We want every woman to have access to good, informative information so they can make great informed choices.
I love that. So for women who might be experiencing symptoms but feel dismissed by their doctors, what's one piece of advice you tell them?
keep speaking, put it out there, talk amongst your friends and your doctors. If you're not getting success with that doctor, see somebody else. Ask for a menopause specialist within your clinic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, don't just think, oh, I'm not going to bother. Because I hear a lot of women saying, don't bother. I'm being really honest here, and people might not like what I say. That's laziness on your behalf.
Mm.
Go and keep digging. If something doesn't feel right, it's generally not right. It's generally not right. Follow your gut.
Yeah, I think especially ladies of our generation,
Absolutely.
hopefully it will be the last generation.
Yeah.
Bottom of the list.
Always.
Don't bother people.
Yeah.
Suck it up.
I know.
Take it. Battle on. Don't have a sick day. And it is unlearning, and it's a form of self-worth, self-love, self-care. I had an amazing therapist, and she said to me, medical self-care is the ultimate self-love.
I love that.
And I had never even thought of it like that.
I love
Excuse
that.
me? She's like,
no, it's
medical self-care is the
absolutely
ultimate self-love.
Yeah, when you say it like that, Ateh, it's
quite shocking.
It's quite deep, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Because it is that. And because we have been always told to, just downplay everything, don't make a fuss and, fit in.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're scared to make that challenge.
And to push back.
Because actually how it can be perceived, especially being a Black woman.
Yeah, big time.
So that narrative is slowly changing, and I'm here for it all. I'm going to push it, and I'm going to keep telling women of color, women from minorities, women who don't have the economical money to go to Harley Street.
Yeah,
I'm here to support you.
Yeah,
go with your journal, write down all your symptoms, and don't leave until
up.
You are satisfied.
Yeah, and speak up.
Speak up, advocate for yourself.
Yeah.
Go and do your research. Advocate for yourself. It's really important. And there's a lot of, what did my mum call it? Village lawyers out there, people that tell you nonsense. Go and get.
Oh, we all know a village lawyer.
Yeah, there's a lot of village lawyers out there. Go and get sound evidence. The British Medical Society, menopause societies out there, menopause mandate, but explore. It's in your gift to look out for yourself.
Yeah. So I'd love to talk about how menopause impacts relationships. Just before we came on, we were talking about dry vaginas.
Dry vagina, low libido.
Dry vaginas and low libidos.
Hello. Well, stop there.
Yes.
Stop there. I often say to Matt, now he'll probably be embarrassed. My daughters will be cringing at this.
Do it.
I'm going to do it. Sorry,
do it, Michelle.
Sorry, girls. Mommy's
being
outlandish.
Get out the room. Bob is talking about vagina.
Is it still moist down there? He says, baby, you're good.
And what are you doing for that? Is it testosterone? Is it
so right? So what I'm doing is I'm on full HRT.
Yes.
And I talk about this because it's working for me.
Yeah.
So I take estrogen, progesterone, and I take 2 pea-size drops of testosterone Monday and Friday.
Ooh.
And then I also take a vaginal estrogen, which everybody can take. That's something that I was told. Even if you've had cancer before, it's safe to take vaginal inserts inside. Okay. So I take those as well twice a week.
Oh, so you do that yourself? Or
I do. No, I do that myself. Everything's all self, but prescribed from the doctor. So I put those in myself. And what happens is you get vaginal atrophy as you get older.
Yeah.
So this is your vagina deteriorating, getting older, basically. And that helps.
Skin.
Like your skin, the elasticity, the collagen, the supplementation down there.
Nothing to be ashamed about.
Nothing at all, babes.
Yeah.
It's yours.
It's yours. Let's crack on and do something about it.
And so my sex life is very, very healthy. Actually, my friends are like, Michelle, you're embarrassing. Don't even tell us. And I say, well, for one, I've got a beautiful husband.
Yes.
Who likes
sex. And that's lovely.
Hello. Yeah. And I also enjoy having sex as well.
Yeah.
Not last night. I was like, no, don't touch me. I'm gone. Hello. I'm up too early. But I think it's that knowledge, but also as well, when you talk about relationships as well, the important thing is, jokes aside here, you have to be mentally connected as well.
Yeah.
And I think as you're getting older, if you're not on the same path as that person, not on the same wavelength as that person, it doesn't matter how turned on you are, or if you don't want to be with that person.
Literally.
And especially for women, that's an important side of it.
And it's like, we're not only talking about vaginal dryness, but also like brain fog and feeling like you're going crazy, and all these things really impact your relationship.
Impact your relationship. And that you'll notice there's more and more arguments happening because you might be forgetting things. You might feel inadequate,
irritable.
So irritable. So we get a lot of that, a lot of women have said how they're feeling, like a dark cloud. So these are things that are really important.
Yeah.
And there are times where 2 or 3 days of the month where I feel really flat.
Yeah.
About being open about this, speaking about this, how's this impacting everybody? And I think being vulnerable, and sharing that vulnerability. Vulnerability is strength. Another one for our listeners to write down. Vulnerability is strength. It's not a weakness.
I think some of the family advice I have been given, which is so toxic now that we know, take all your problems, put them in a box and put them in a high shelf and never think about it, was something a family member told me. And the opposite we know is actually healthy.
Opposite is healthy now. The fact that you're able to talk about it with no judgment, and try not to judge, your friend out there, your colleague out there.
Yeah.
Try and be supportive. Yes, we do act. Some of us, I've seen some of my closest friends acting irrationally.
Yeah.
And I think, she could do with a couple more patches and stuff.
Yeah.
That's me inside saying that.
Yeah.
She could do with exploring some of her options. But it's difficult. And like Mommy says again, nothing happens before the person is ready.
Yeah, when you're ready. Beyond HRT, what are some of the practical strategies and lifestyle shifts that you found are really good for helping manage menopause symptoms?
So for me, it would be, as a personal trainer for 26 years and a life coach, number one, keeping moving.
Yeah.
Keep moving, strength training. I try and do strength training at least 2 times a week.
I love your videos. I scroll and I see you pumping iron and I just go, I've got to get myself to the gym. And it's
honestly, Ateh, but not even to the gym. This is another thing that I really want our listeners to just grab yourself a 5 kilogram weight, a 2.5 kilogram weight.
And just do it.
3 sets of 10 squats, go down on the floor, 3 sets of 10 press ups on your knees, back up again, 3 sets of 10 lunges. Just keep moving daily, stretch. Give yourself some time as well.
Yeah.
So morning, give yourself 5 to 10 minutes of your self time before you call a child, before you call your partner. Give yourself some time, and at the end of the day, give yourself some time. These are all things to help your menopausal symptoms. Cut down on your alcohol. If you drink alcohol, cut down. They don't help.
Yeah.
They make you hotter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know dehydrating.
They make you hotter. Look into your food, what you're eating.
Yeah.
And for me, I do intermittent fasting. That really works well for me. And it's been well for me as somebody that's pre-diabetic and now it's under control.
Yes.
That's really helped.
Well done.
And
protein.
High protein is great. Greek yogurt with nuts, getting as much nutrients as you can. Yeah. This is your time to spend a bit of time curating a program that works for you.
Yeah. Love you. It's the ultimate self-love.
Self-love. The kid, you're taking the kid to tennis or ballet, or you're getting your husband. What about you? Prioritize you. These are things you're going to need with the symptoms, and crack that little window at night as well.
Open the window.
Open a little bit of fresh air at night.
Yeah.
Off your screens late at night. I know we're constantly busy with our work on our phones. I know we are. I know. And, we constantly give yourself some space. So just in a nutshell, for those that can't take HRT, or even those that are on HRT, lifestyle changes, small, sustainable lifestyle changes. Walk in as much as you can.
Yeah.
Strength train as much as you can. High protein. Packing yourself full of nutrients on a daily basis. Connecting with people, talking with people, and getting out in fresh air as well.
I love that. Community, movement.
It works.
And nutrition.
Yep.
And just loving yourself. It's
loving yourself. It's really, and having although it's hard, having that positive mindset as well.
So true. It's so true. I always tell my children, change your frequency, change your life.
Absolutely.
Speak only positivity.
Speak it out there.
Hang out with positive people, and then it comes back to you.
It comes back to you. Empower and be kind.
Yes.
Be kind. One of the things that Hello has always talked about was kindness.
I love that.
And I think it's important for us to really think, if you can be kind to somebody, why would you not be? Be mindful how you're judging, because when you're judging somebody, you could potentially be sending them down a hole that they don't know they're in.
And you harm yourself.
Yeah.
I love that.
Be kind as well.
Did you know that from our mid-20s, our bodies make less collagen? And of course, menopause accelerates the whole process, so that by the age of 55, most women have lost about half of their natural collagen in their skin. What the hell? Collagen is something that I've been looking into for some time, and it's so reassuring to find a brand just like Absolute Collagen who've done all the hard work and research for me. It's a simple daily supplement that stimulates your body's natural collagen production, improving skin from within, and their clinical trials speak for themselves. 100% of women said that their wrinkles were reduced, that it helped boost their skin elasticity and their hair. Absolute Collagen is the perfect partner for Second Act. They understand women in midlife because they've been there. Their mission is to help us redefine ourselves in this bold new chapter, glowing from the inside out thanks to their balance of beauty and biology. I love this no-fuss approach because Absolute Collagen is all about embracing the life you're living right now to find the best version of yourself at every age. The chance to love the person you're becoming, more confident, more potential, more you. So if you're curious, try the Absolute Collagen commitment and see what it does for you. Absolute Collagen is now available on 3 for 2 in Boots stores and at boots.com. You do all these beautiful things and you love yourself and you give yourself grace. I call it space and grace. You're 53 now, looking amazing. What has this decade meant to you? 50s, is that a scary number?
Absolutely not a scary number. When I turned 50, I just lost my father leading up to that. And my husband said to me, "How are you feeling today?" And I said, "Oh, Matt, I don't know. I just miss my dad," because my dad would always send me a card with £50 in it, whether I was 16, 26, this 36. So I went and took out £50 and put it in a card from my dad, even though he wasn't here. And Matthew said, "Why did you do that?" I said, "Because it just feels weird not to." And he held a surprise party for me. And we was in Devon, and my mum had just lost her husband and my dad and had stomach cancer. So she was very frail. And he put on this surprise. My mum was there. Oh my gosh, I cried so hard. And that was the start of my husband really knowing as well what mattered to me.
Yeah.
It's what mattered to me. I was 50, I had 3 children. I've had a successful marriage. I've had a successful career. But this was the next part of what's more from Michelle.
And recognising and honouring that.
Recognising and honouring that. And it's not always having the big fancy parties and everything else. It's about those close contacts. And he knows how desperately close I am to my mummy.
Yeah.
So the fact that he got my mum down as a surprise to me from London to Devon, and she didn't tell me, and it was a magical moment.
So you were excited to turn 50?
I was very excited to turn 50, and I'm excited to turn 60, but I'm not counting my life away just yet.
No.
I've got so many things to do, but this decade, it's rocking because I'm comfortable with who I am.
Yeah.
And I can honestly say in my 40s, I was comfortable with who I am. In my 30s, I wasn't quite that comfortable.
No.
And that's when I started therapy, even though I was with Matthew as well. And in my 20s, I certainly wasn't happy with who I am. So today I sit here as 53 and a half years old, and I feel very, truly blessed of who I am, what I've accomplished. And if the Lord was to take me tomorrow morning, I'd hope somebody would read out on my eulogy what I've done has helped so many people on numerous levels.
You're a giver, you're a healer. And all the people I really love and respect in my life are healers. They want to make things better.
Want to make things better, but also understanding you can't always be a fixer.
No, because that can come from trauma.
Yeah.
What are you doing differently in your second act compared to your first act?
Not taking no nonsense from anybody. I'm not taking any nonsense from anybody.
Be for boundaries. Be for boundaries.
Be for boundaries. I have an agile mind. So I'm willing to, listen to more people and share stories, but also protecting my energy.
Yeah.
So knowing that I can't fix everything. Before I used to try and fix everything. Can't fix everything. So I've realised that. And that's
I was a fixer. Is that from a traumatic
It's a traumatic place. It's traumatic childhood, as I think.
It's a control response.
Yeah, I think it is a control response as well, trying to fix everything, trying to be the one that's the savior. No, I'm not doing that.
No.
So I guess for me, for my second act is boundaries are in place.
Yeah.
Knowing more secure of who I am.
Yeah.
Knowing what I want to try and achieve.
Yeah.
And
goals, because of the Olympian.
Yeah, you've got to have goals.
Can I ask you, what is one common roadblock that you see women in midlife facing and how to help them navigate it?
I think the first thing that women are navigating, which you hear a lot about really, is they're dropping out of their careers.
Oh yeah, because of the menopause, or because they feel they're not.
I think it's a combination of the menopause as well as that, and also challenging their relationships. Is this relationship that they're in serving them? So you're finding a lot more women are leaving relationships.
45. That's when I blew up my marriage.
45 to 55. That's a stat where there's many more divorces because they're finding themselves now. They're prioritizing themselves, and that might not sit very well with their partner.
Yeah.
Also, as well, they're thinking, is this it? Is this what I want to endure for the next 10, 15 years?
Yeah.
20 years? Maybe not. So you are finding a lot of women. But I would say before you jump and you try and water somebody else's grass, or you think this grass won't be watered, really have a deep dive into what you want and share that with your partner, your friends, your family. Be honest with yourself. Is it you or is it them?
Yeah, I love that. It was you.
Or should I say, it wasn't me.
It wasn't me. It's not me, it's you.
It's
what has been...
everybody, Ateh, everyone has a responsibility to everything.
Yeah, I own it.
Own at least 10%.
You know what? I think in relationships, like you say, I changed.
Yeah.
I was not the same person I was at 19.
Why should you be?
And why should I be?
Yeah.
And you grow together or you grow apart.
There
There's
you go.
nothing in between.
You grow together or you grow apart. I've been married 23 years.
Yeah.
Yes, I came into it at 30, I met him.
You were grown.
So a big ass woman, know exactly what I'm doing. But even then, I still had so many insecurities of a 20-year-old.
Yeah.
So it's about addressing the situation and realizing, if I want this marriage to work, I'm going to have to do some deep diving into myself.
I love that. Yeah. Personal responsibility.
Personal responsibility, accountability, and recognizing that there's two of you in this, sometimes three.
And you wish, I'm on a healing journey, Michelle.
I know you are, darling. And I'm actually at it. I'm really proud that you are healing.
I am.
I'm proud that you're healing. And remember that you're going to have dips in this healing as well.
I had a very nice conversation yesterday. I'm just love and release. And
Love that.
like twirling into another.
Into another zone.
Yeah. And you're, when you've been married for such a long time, you want that person, like I was saying yesterday, you're my family.
Yeah.
You'll always be my family.
Yeah.
I want you to win. I love you. I will always love you.
Win.
And it doesn't matter what people do to you or other people's behavior. I think if you can take control of that.
Take control, but it is about acknowledging who you are as well.
Yeah.
Your core values. You have to
take
ownership. And I think, and I'm very much a feminist. I'm very much pro-women, but I still do believe that women have to take ownership on themselves as well. And that's regarding their health, regarding their relationships, acknowledging that sometimes their behaviors and attitudes is what's holding them back.
Yeah. And just take it and twirl into your next chapter. So what has been your biggest learning since starting your second act?
Biggest learning since starting my second act is there's a community of women behind me.
Oh, yeah.
You're
so loved.
There's a community of women behind me that that can really relate to me, that support me, that see me. And I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. So there's a community of women behind me. I've also got a very supportive husband.
Yeah.
I'm realizing that sometimes things are tough. Things are tough, but reach out for support. It's okay.
Yeah, it's not weak. I was taught it was weak to ask for help.
Yeah.
Don't show your don't show your weakness.
That's cultural as well,
It's
though, right?
cultural.
It's cultural. Don't show don't air your laundry out in public.
Literally.
All of that.
Don't
So that
air
to
your
stifle it and
dirty-
burst.
Yeah.
That ain't happening. So, for me, it's liberating. That's what I'm going to call this next act. Feeling liberated, having a community behind me, and feeling really loved.
Yeah. Loved and celebrated and seen.
Loved, celebrated, and seen.
Yeah, that's beautiful. If you could go back in time to the you're hot now, but 24-year-old hot two-piece Michelle in that stadium and give her a high five and give her a talking to, what would you be saying to her, Michelle?
Gosh, I can't swear on camera, so I won't do that. I won't do that, but I would say to her, you're meant to be where you're meant to be, and you're going to have some hard times, but you are strong enough. You're built on a foundation from your mum, specifically your mum, and your dad as well, that you will come out the other end. So you will keep going.
You'd be loving Mama Bear, Michelle.
Oh
I would have given myself a slap. I'd be like, go be a hoe and like find out who you are.
I was
have more
a hoe.
confidence.
I was a hoe too. Don't worry.
You see, I wasn't. I was good girl. I was good Catholic girl.
Good Catholic.
Married my first boyfriend. I was one and done.
No, one and done. That's boring, man.
One and done.
Hey, guy, just letting you know, there's no one and done going on here. Shh.
Your children are out of the room. You know what? I mean, what do you tell you've got 3 beautiful kids.
Yeah,
what
but 2 girls.
What do you tell them, especially as women?
Which people want to tell them. They say to me,
You say go be a hoe?
No, I don't say go and be a hoe. I just say love yourself, but have some fun, man.
Yeah.
And what does that look like? Mummy, what do you mean going up? And my girls are very much not like that. They're very much like, they're kind of like the one and done. I'm like, you guys are boring, guys.
Yeah.
I'm like, fix up. I'm like, and Matt's looking at me like, fix up, babes.
Yeah.
Like, combination of both of us. No, it's not a good thing.
Yeah.
But in reality, I say to them to explore, have different experiences with different people, because then you get to really find out what you want.
Yeah.
But of course, it's their journey. I'm there to support, facilitate. It's their journey.
I am that. I like being met. My girls are turning 14 this month, and I'm calling myself mentor mama. It's another phase. Mentor mama.
You've got to be a mentor. You've got to be a mentor. I'm very open with my daughters. The first time I told my daughter, Reese, about I was in an abusive relationship was only 3 years ago.
Oh wow.
She was 18.
Was she shocked?
I mean, literally, was in Barbados driving. I was driving.
Flabbergasted.
She was flabbergasted. Mommy. What you, mommy?
Yeah.
Mommy, no, mommy, you. She couldn't understand it because she sees the
women
strong,
like
strong mummy. She sees this strong mummy, which I said, that's what I am now, Reese. And I was strong in some aspects, but weak in others. And I said, and she was just absolutely astonished. So, I'll drip feed information. I let them know about the red flags. I think that's really important to know that there's some red flags out there with certain men that you need to be very mindful of.
They test you.
You've got to be mindful of that, especially if you're a beautiful woman who's educated. They try and break you down. Some men don't like to see you at the very top. They don't like to see that you're getting the spotlight. Mm-hmm. So be mindful of that. And my daughters are brilliant. Reese is graduating from Cambridge in politics next month. Eden's off to Florida, on a full scholarship for athletics and really bright as well.
Amazing.
So they're really incredibly beautiful, bright girls.
They're going to have a target for their back.
They got to be mindful, there's going to be some people out there that they're going to meet. So you have to equip them the same way like how we need to be equipped with menopause, with the knowledge of what's to do and what's not to do. See the signs and symptoms.
Yeah, I love that. So Michelle, a very sensitive subject, but you are so brave that you talk about it and you are open, and it's not your shame, it's their shame.
Absolutely.
Talking about domestic violence, abusive relationships, and you are the ambassador of Women's Aid. Mm-hmm. And it is always the same thing. Mm. You?
I know.
Not a woman like you?
I know. The
and
strong
talk
woman,
to me about that.
Yeah, so I joined Women's Aid. It's actually Alice Living that put my name forward to join Women's Aid in lockdown 2020. So I've been 5 years, I've been an ambassador for Women's Aid. I've done a lot with them. And it came from, I think it allowed me to, it was the right time for me to start talking a little bit more about being in an abusive relationship when I was young. And I think it came from a point of, from being really honest about this, childhood. Some things that I saw growing up probably wasn't the best example for me. And
I think relationships with my father have been very damaging.
They can be.
Like in terms of low self-worth, low self-esteem,
you do. And it's what you see.
You put up with, what you think is
normal. It's normal.
Acceptable.
It's acceptable. It's environment-led. And I often think, when you see an environment that is a certain way, you almost mimic it subconsciously, or what that looks like. So I went out with 2 abusive men, and I had to make a difference to myself. Because when I met Matthew, I was that insecure woman checking his phone and everything else. And my therapist said, that's not normal behaviour.
Oh my God. I was like, doesn't everyone check people's phones? Like,
it's not normal behaviour. So it's understanding the boundaries there. Yeah. I can say to Matthew, now, Matt, go in my phone, please, and check and see if I got a message from da-da-da-da. Yeah. But it shouldn't be his business, and it shouldn't be mine to go and check his phone. It's his belongings.
Yeah, because there should be a level of respect
and trust. And so it took a long time for me to come out of that. And my friends didn't believe me when I told them that I was in an abusive relationship.
Yeah. Because
of the stigma attached to it. My brother said to me about 2 years ago, if I had known, I said I protected it hid it from my brothers.
You don't tell people
you're
what
embarrassed.
You're going through.
You're shamed and you're embarrassed.
What you're experiencing or what the real dynamics are because it's embarrassing.
It's embarrassing. And the twist of turns, though, was I joined Women's Aid in 2020. 2 years after that, I walked into Parliament because I do a lot of work around abuse in Parliament, talking about it in Parliament. And our patron, who's Mel B, who I used to train in 2000, walks in there. I've been estranged from her for 10 years. And we hugged, we cried, and I'm blessed to say that I'm back rekindled with Mel, and I'm looking forward to future plans with her wedding coming up soon.
I love her.
And,
And I love that for both of you. That
I love it for me. I love it for her. And she's been an amazing patron for Women's Aid, who talks from the heart. She even donated some of her money from one of her gigs she did to the helpline for Women's Aid.
That's beautiful. It's just taking something which is such a horrible moment in your life, or the horrible
Give back.
moments, and you give back. And that's also honouring that past version of yourself.
Absolutely.
The women who need your help, and
Absolutely.
it's being a champion, and that's
Absolutely.
really powerful.
It's a powerful, and you generally only own this when you're older, in your second act. So that's my experience with domestic abuse. I'm glad that I can help one woman.
Yes.
And, you know, I often say when people say, oh, you don't have a lot of followers, I said, I don't care about followers. What I care about is impacting one person's life. My brand is about empowering women and girls at every stage and every age through their well-being. And if I can empower one woman to say, do you know what? Here's the signpost. Go and look on the mental health website. Here's a signpost about your diabetes, about getting out of an abusive relationship. That's my job well done. And if I can do that, I sleep good at night.
You're doing good work. You just listen to your gut.
Listen to your gut.
Don't
Absolutely.
listen to the fantasy that you've been fed, or the fantasy you feed yourself.
Absolutely.
You know when something like
Your
your health, like the menopause,
Absolutely.
like your pre-diabetes, like
Absolutely.
abusive relationship, you know deep down when something's not right.
When something's not right.
Get help, get out.
Get help and try and get out. Try.
Safely.
And it's safely, because, you know, we have to be very mindful when we're saying, especially when it comes to abuse, there's a road there. Yes, it's the right things to get out, but it's when it's right, and nobody really knows when it's right.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing. That's really, you will be helping people today. So thank you.
I hope so.
Yeah. It's time for your second act, where we read emails and voice notes sent in by you, my wonderful listeners. This one is from Ada. Hi, Ada. And she says, hi, Ateh. I'm 51, overweight, and have struggled with diet and exercise for years. It's beyond a point now where I'm worried about my health. If I don't change something soon, there'll be no going back. A few of my friends have taken up yoga and Pilates. I'd love to try some exercise, but I'm so overwhelmed and I don't know where to start. Any ideas?
So,
This is Ada.
Ada, first thing I just got to say to Ada, well done for putting pen to paper.
Oh, yeah.
Because first things first, it's about acknowledging as a life coach and a personal trainer for over 2 decades. Sometimes it's even hard to acknowledge where you're at. So congratulate yourself for that. Start off by asking you, Ada, how much do you really want this?
Ooh.
And this is quite deep. How much do you want to make this difference? If it's enough, if it's a 9 out of 10 or 8 out of 10, then start by tomorrow. Don't stay next week. Just go
Now.
out for a walk. Start by walking. Put it in your diary, the days you're going to walk. Ask somebody to support you on your journey, on your quest.
And a real friend, because there's a
Yeah.
lot of saboteurs.
There's a lot of saboteurs. There are. But generally people are good.
Yeah.
So find somebody and tell them what you're trying to achieve. Get them to check in with you on a regular basis. And start by just walking first. Give yourself 6 weeks of building up a good habit.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah, 6 weeks of building up a good habit. Then look at it and see how many times have you stuck to that, doing that first.
Consistency.
Consistency, perseverance. Don't change your diet. Don't change anything else. Start with one thing first. Because when you start with 2 or 3 things, it becomes overwhelming.
And then you give
too
up.
much, and then you give up.
Yeah.
If a goal is too underwhelming, you give up. If it's too much, it's overwhelming, you give up. So just write it in your diary. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm going to walk for 20 minutes after meals.
And yeah, I love that. I was going to say walking as well. And also, don't look around to all your friends who are doing yoga and Pilates. Maybe that's not for you, Ada.
Maybe that's not for you, Ada.
Maybe you like boxing. I love boxing.
You might like dancing. You
I
might
like
like a salsa
dancing.
class. You know,
Literally.
there's so much things. And maybe, Ada, you might just like to be on your own at home doing
Yeah.
something. Yeah, so there's so much material out there on YouTube and everything else.
Yeah.
But before that, 6 weeks, 3 times a week, get out walking. Write it in your diary, and after week 1, celebrate yourself. Week 2, celebrate yourself. Week 4, celebrate yourself. And week 6, come to a summary. What have you done?
Oh, I love that.
And that way, that would be my first advice. And you know where I am, Ada.
Oh, yeah. Call me, girl. But I love that. I love the accountability. I love the celebration.
Celebrate. We don't often
do that
We don't
enough.
often celebrate when we get a milestone, when we get a new job, or when we do a really good talk or whatever. We don't stop, pause, and reflect on what we've achieved. We go on to the next thing.
Yeah.
And that way we kind of just forget that it's just nothing. No, it's important what we've done and achieved.
What about targets? Because in the past I've had targets and I failed them and then I just feel miserable about myself. So do you put like, oh, by this I'm going to be this kilos by this day? You're like, don't even set yourself up.
I don't do no kilos. I just turn around and say, by the end of the month,
how I feel.
Out of 10, and at the end of the month, how many sessions? I would love to do 20 sessions.
Oh.
Yeah, so 20 sessions might be walking, jogging, salsa, swimming, whatever that might look like.
Mm-hmm.
And if you get to 15, how will 15 make you feel? What would it do if you did 20?
I know, my BB, my lovely trainer BB, she's like, Ateh, you work out once a week with me. Imagine if you did 2 or 3.
There you go. But like, Ateh, that might
don't be crazy now.
That might be you walking from here to London Bridge.
I walk every day. I do 5,000 steps a day, trying to and building up to 10,000.
So let's do 6.
Yeah.
So let's build up. So if you have a consistent month of doing 5,000, have a consistent month of doing 6,000.
2 years.
No, but that's because it's important to you.
Up my pedometer.
The same way like how
Yeah.
you building your beauty brand was important to you.
Yeah. I want to live. I've got my babies and I've got myself.
What's important to you?
Yeah.
Actually, I'm wearing your blusher today.
I know,
too.
Michelle, love Plum in the house. I literally,
Sorry.
It's got your name on it. And it makes me so proud that you wear that and you love it.
No, this is really, this is not just for you, you know. I think the product's brilliant.
Oh,
but it's not
you.
about that today, but it's about little things that make you feel great. So thank
Yeah, but you know, building a brand, Ada, building your health, it's the same thing.
you. Absolutely.
It's
So what's important to
everyday
you?
consistency.
Consistency takes hard work, and anything worth having,
And belief.
oh, completely, but anything worth having takes hard work.
You got this, and we are here. Please reach out, and good luck. If you have any questions or thoughts about life in Second Act that you would like myself or my guest to answer, please send us an email at secondactpod@hellomagazine.com. Michelle, this has been amazing. Thank you. Every time it's like the NBA of self-love and self-care talking to you. I feel so filled up. It is wonderful. Thank you so much for that chat. That's amazing.
Thank you for having me, Ateh, and I'm wishing you all the very best.
I know. Thank you.
I'm wishing you all the very best. Let's keep going. Let's promote ourselves. Let's advocate for ourselves.
Support each
other. Don't be bitching behind each other's back. If you're not happy with somebody, tell them. Don't hold on to grudges, and give yourself some grace, space and grace.
Space and grace. Get it on a t-shirt. Michelle, thank you for joining us on the Second Act. Thank you so much to my girl, Michelle Griffith-Robinson, for coming on. That was so inspiring, bouncy, exciting, and I am just ready to go for it. I hope you have been inspired as I am. Michelle, thank you so much for coming on Second Act. That's all we have time for today, so thank you so much for listening. Now, don't forget to keep your questions and thoughts coming to secondactpod@hellomagazine.com, and we'd love it if you could rate us on your preferred podcast platform. You can also find more Second Act wisdom on Hello Magazine and in our Second Act newsletter, with the very best experts to guide you through your second act. See you next week, and I'm so excited.